The Khabib vs Gaethje matchup is mostly dependent on if Justin can stay off the fence and if his accolades in wrestling can keep him competitive in the scrambles and allow him to strike with Khabib. Justin grew up wrestling, starting at the age of 4, and with that comes an awareness and ability in wrestling and grappling exchanges that many of Khabib's opponents have just not had, and they could not expect to gain it in a single camp or even a few years dedicated to improving their ability there. Much like it would be near impossible to turn Khabib into as fluid a striker as Conor, you cannot just become the type of grappler Khabib is deep into your career because you add more wrestling. Thankfully, Justin has wrestled from a young age, so he brings something different to his fight. When Justin has grappled in MMA, it has been mostly reactionary and rarely has he been the one initiating the exchange. He relentlessly scrambles and never stops moving. Two things Khabib's opponents have failed to do, getting trapped by his incredible force. Most of Khabib's recent opponents have come in with specific ideas that they have worked on in camp and have drilled relentlessly, such as Poirier attempting to sit out on Khabib from the tripod, or Conor controlling the wrist to avoid the ground and pound. It shows they expected to be stuck in these positions with him and they could use these tools to fight back or get up. Justin's expressed his belief that if he is on the cage, he is losing the fight.
I will have an extremely hard time getting back up because, the way that he carries his weight, the way he covers you, I have to stay up the fence. If I'm on the fence, then I lost.
Justin's takedown defense in MMA has often started by firing his hips back and pulling the opponent up, or sprawling if the opponent insists upon his hips. When opponents close the body lock, he immediately attacks their grip, turns away, and looks to break away, and if he can't, he will often go for the Granby roll. Justin has the on-paper wrestling to keep himself standing in the open, but it will be his command of the centre and his positioning that he will need to rely on to avoid prolonged wrestling exchanges near the cage. Look at how Justin keeps himself on the inner octagon lines here with Tony, and he angles to get back inside and leave Tony's back on the fence. It is this command of his feet and positioning that will be the weapon for Justin in this fight. As we can see in this clip in Khabib Poirier, Khabib will capitalise on you putting yourself behind those lines almost immediately. Justin will need to be diligent the entire fight, as one opening is all Khabib needs to take control of the fight. I also believe Justin's ability to re-attack can create openings for him to strike. In wrestling, re-attacking is when you defend your opponent's manoeuvre and immediately respond with your own offensive one, catching them in the brief moment they are off guard on a failed attempt. Justin is already proficient at striking in the clinch, and he has a fantastic ability to mix his wrestling and striking together, often mixing his low kicks and dirty boxing in with his collar ties. If he can force reactions in the open from Khabib during grappling exchanges, he may find openings. With Khabib's opponents often so terrified of engaging with him, they are simply looking to get away or stay safe, they take away their ability to force him to react. And while some fighters have tried to submit him and take him down, few have had the ability to engage him in a prolonged scramble in which they can re-attack and force openings to strike. Of course, this requires you to be near perfect versus Khabib, and Justin has been taken down in his career. Add all of these skills up though, and with Justin's natural love of violence and the heart he has shown in his career so far, it is easy to see why people think this man can defeat the Eagle. There is a lot more factors to discuss in this fight, but this is the biggest and most important reason as to why Justin is the most exciting matchup for Khabib outside of Tony. So thanks for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments.